Hey guys, what's up? It's Stephanie. I have another video for you guys this week, and the topic of today is going to be about reapplicants. So, what should you do if you are reapplying to PA school? So, I'm going to be talking about that. I myself was a reapplicant. I didn't get accepted the first time into PA school. I got accepted until the second time of PA school, and that's okay. That's okay, guys. So I'm going to be talking about my experience, the advice I give for those of you who are reapplicants for PA school the second time. So I'll be talking about that shortly. Alright guys, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Alright guys, so reapplicants. I know it's really difficult and it's sometimes hard not to lose motivation after you apply the first time and you don't get accepted and you have to apply the second time. I know some students in my class who didn't even get in until the third time. So if you are a reapplicant, don't feel bad about it. I was there. Other students in my class were also there. You have very few students within my class who were accepted the first time. So, and I'm actually going to be interviewing them about what they did that they got in the first time, which is I'm very curious about. But if you are a reapplicant, you know, I've been there, don't worry about it, and most importantly, don't lose motivation, guys, because I was there and I understand how hard it is not to lose motivation. So what to do if you are a reapplicant? So you apply the first time. In my case, I had applied the first time. I got rejected from almost every school that I applied to. Well, overall, I got rejected from all the schools that I applied to. I got waitlisted from only one school, and then eventually I was rejected from that school. So throughout that year that I had applied, what I did is that I was still working on my application because I told myself if I don't get in this year, I'm gonna have to apply a second time, and for some reason I didn't get in the first year. So I want to add as much as I can to my application. In my case, I was lacking patient care hours. I had 0 patient care experience hours. And this is one of the reasons why I believe I didn't get into PA school the first year. So I told myself I'm going to get patient care experience hours. And that's what I did. I was able to get at least 1,000 hours of patient care experience hours for the second year. That way when I applied the second year, I was able to add this to my application. Also, during that year that I was waiting, the first year that I was waiting to get interview invites, which I only got one, but I also started looking for more things that I could add to my application. I started doing more volunteer hours. In addition, I also did another research project. So overall, I started adding more and more to my application. That way, the second time I come and apply, I have a lot more in my application than compared to the first year. And then I also gained more healthcare experience hours. So I was able to add that also to my application. So if you are a reapplicant, then add as much as you can to your application. During that year that you are waiting for your interviews, you know, always have, of course, you have your plan A, that you will get accepted into PA school, but also have your plan B, that if you don't get into PA school, you know, what are you going to do? So in case of the worst scenario, what are you going to do? And that's what I was in the back of my mind, because it came around January, February, and I was already getting all these rejections, and I told myself, you know what, I have to do something differently. So this is when I started doing all this. And then on top of that, I also got a new letter of recommendation. So the previous year I had 3, but I felt like one of them wasn't strong enough. The individual who wrote me the letter of recommendation has sent it to me, but he had already submitted it, and I was in a panic because I didn't know who else to ask to write me a letter of recommendation. So I submitted my application like that, and the individual who wrote me the letter of recommendation was about 1 paragraph long, and I felt like it didn't describe me, and that was my fault. So also, if you can and you feel like your letter's recommendation wasn't strong enough, find a new individual that you met that you feel like you got closer to, or you felt like who knows you better, that can write you a better letter recommendation. Also, if you can, also add tweaks or tweak your personal statement, add more things to it, you know, have someone else reread it. That's what I did. I just tweaked it a little bit, added some stuff here, took some stuff there, just so you can also perfect that. And like I said, another thing that I also did is that I gained more volunteer hours on top of that also. So overall I had more volunteer hours. I had patient care experience hours, so I had 1,000 hours that I didn't have the first year. I worked as much as I could during that year, specifically during the summer, so I could have a lot of patient care, also a lot of healthcare experience hours that I could add to my application. So I also had a new letter recommendation, my personal statement. I felt like I had perfected it also. And I had a new research project the next year I applied. So I felt like my application was stronger. Although one thing I didn't do is that I didn't retake classes. I had some C's in some of my classes and I just didn't retake them because of time. And to be honest with you guys, I wanted to have time available to go to interviews in case I had interviews, so that's why I didn't take any of the classes. But if you do, you know, some of the schools that I went to did point the classes out, some of the classes that I had C's in, and so if I would have done it again, I would have retaken those classes to get a higher grade in them if I wouldn't have got accepted the second time that I applied to a PA school. So always think in the back of your mind, you're trying to perfect your application if you're going to be a reapplicant. Try to retake some classes that you maybe didn't do as well in. Try to increase your GPA. Try to take some extra science classes. That way that can increase your science GPA and your overall GPA. And on top of that, it looks really well in your application. Try to get more volunteer hours, more patient care experience hours, healthcare experience hours. Get new letters of recommendation if you thought the ones that were written the prior year were not enough or sufficient or were not quality, I guess one would say. And also, if you can't do some type of research, guys, I actually made a video about that. One of my other videos, YouTube videos, is to do research. I really recommend research because you gain a lot of skills from that. You gain critical thinking skills, and on top of that, it looks really well on your application. To the schools that I interviewed, I had every school ask me about my interview, and the majority of them were very surprised with my interview, and they really encouraged me for doing my interviews. So, for doing my research. I'm sorry guys, I meant research. For doing my research, they really encouraged me for doing that. So try to find some type of research. But even when you are waiting to be given an interview during your application process, always think in the back of your mind, what else can I add to my application just in case I don't get in this year? Because think about it, guys. If you guys just applied to PA school and during that year you guys were waiting, didn't do much to change your application, and then it comes around, say it's June or July, and you got your rejections, which is hopefully not the case for you guys, but you know, worst case scenario, you get your rejections. Well, your application's the same, you're going to submit it again, and if you applied to a school already and they look at your application again, they're going to say, well, what did that person do differently in comparison to the first time they applied? So always try to add more to your application. Try to better your application if you can, guys. Alright guys, so like I said, if you're a reapplicant, don't worry about it. I myself was a reapplicant. I had students in my class who didn't get in until the second, third time, but you know what? They didn't lose that motivation. They kept applying and applying, and they also did with what I did, whether they retook some classes or whether they obtained more patient care experience, they were always added to their application. So always add to your application. I know one of the schools that I interviewed at had asked me, did you apply to the school before? And I told them yes. Well, what did you do differently the first time that you applied to now? So if they ask you, that way you are able to answer them, well, you know, I had more patient care experience hours. I have more research experience hours now. I have new research experience also. You know, I have more healthcare experience, more volunteer hours, etc. And then also, guys, another thing is that, say you apply the first time, you also learn about how the CASPA application works. I didn't know how it worked, and now you're even more prepared the second year. You know that you have to submit it as early as you can. That way you can get that interview. And not only that, you also know how the interviews work, because since I had one interview the first year, I knew how the interview worked, and I learned how to dress appropriately for the interview since I had already seen individuals. When I went to the interview, I learned about the mistakes I made when I was interviewing, etc. So you also learn. It's a learning process the first year that apply. That way when the second year comes around, you're already prepared because you've already applied before, you've already gone to interviews, and you're even more prepared. So, you know, if you don't get in the first year, guys, don't feel demotivated. Keep applying. You always learn something new. Alright guys, well thanks for watching my videos. I'll talk to you guys soon, and as always, if you guys like my videos, make sure to give them a thumbs up. If you have any questions for me, any comments, make sure to send me an email or just comment below in the comments section. If you guys like my videos, make sure you subscribe to them. I will try to make these videos on a weekly basis. Alright guys, talk to you guys later.